Good evening. I'm Juan Felipe Herrera. Back in the mid-'70s, Carolyn Forché published an amazing book, Gathering the Tribes. When I saw that book, I was shattered. I felt as if I had met a mountain, it split open, and it hurled a storm of machetes at me. That's how I felt. I had my own manuscript, and I had sent it. It didn't go anywhere. And when I saw Carolyn Forché's manuscript that did go somewhere, I felt what it was all about. It stripped me to pieces. In Devouring Syntax, or in The Long Journey Line, Carolyn Forché's poems deny us escape. That's what I felt. As in the fires of the realized self in all self. Here is a prophet mashed in newspapers, mashed in fin tins, pine roots, spirit chants, and pushed down cut off ears of los desaparecidos that disappeared in El Salvador, with her eyes cut into stanzas and her khaki skirt soaked with impossible love for a country, a nation, a humanity. Wait a minute. You and I, riddled with vast indifference and expensive war suffering. It is not political. Ask Celan, or Radnati, or Mandelstam, or Hikmet, or Neruda, or Levertov, or Castellanos, or Resevich. It is not ornament. It is fearless opening of, quote, your curtain of spirit, end quote. For her steady gaze into the abyss, and for her crafted house of awakened human heavens, where she calls us to live, we celebrate and recognize Carolyn Forché and her heroic career, gathering word by word embers, shaking light, that is, poetry, to face and save lives before they are disappeared. Let us welcome Carolyn Forché, winner of the Academy of American Poets Fellowship.
Thank you, Juan Felipe. And to the Academy and the chancellors of the Academy, I'm very deeply honored by this award, and it's very special for me to be here today, this evening. Thank you so much. I'm going to read two poems. There's a lighthouse in Ireland, which is Hook Lighthouse. It's very near, across the water, the Crook Lighthouse. So one can sail by hook or by crook, which is, I think, where it came from. The Light Keeper. A night without ships. Foghorns called into walled cloud, and you, still alive, drawn to the light as if it were a fire kept by monks. Darkness once crusted with stars, but now death dark as you sail inward. Through wild gorse and sea wrack, through heather and torn wool you ran, pulling me by the hand so I might see this for once in my life. The spin and spin of light, the whirring of it, light in search of the lost. There, since the era of fire, era of candles and hollow wick lamps, whale oil and solid wick, colza and lard, kerosene and carbide, the signal fires lighted on this perilous coast in the Tower of Hook. You say to me, stay awake. Be like the lens maker who died with his lungs full of glass. Be the you in blossom when bees swarm. Be their amber cathedral, and even the ghosts of Cistercians will be kind to you. In a certain light, as after rain, in pearled clouds or the water beyond, seen or sensed water, sea or lake, you would stop still and gaze out for a long time. Also when fireflies opened and closed in the pines, and a star appeared, our only heaven. You taught me to live like this, that after death it would be as it was before we were born. Nothing to be afraid, nothing but happiness, as unbearable as the dread from which it comes. Go toward the light always. Be without ships. Oh, thank you. This poem comes from El Salvador 30 years ago, and there's another voice in it besides mine. It is Leonel Gomez Vides, who was my mentor for 30 years. He died in 2009. The ghost of heaven. Sleep to sleep through 30 years of night. A child, herself with child, for whom we searched. Through here or there, amidst bones still sleeved and trousered. A spine picked clean, a paint can, a skull with hair. Night to night, child walking toward me through burning maze, over the clean bones of those whose flesh was lifted by zopilotes into heaven. So that is how we ascend, in the clawed feet of fallen angels, to be assembled again in the workrooms of the clouds. Bring penicillin if you can, surgical tape, a whetstone, mosquito repellent, but not the aerosol kind. Especially bring a syringe for sucking phlegm, a knife, wooden sticks, a surgical clamp, and plastic bags. You will need a bottle of cloud for anesthesia, like the flight of a crane through colorless dreams. When a leech opens your flesh, it leaves a small volcano. Always pour turpentine over your hair before going to sleep. Such experiences as these are forgotten before memory intrudes. The girl was found, don't say this, with a man's severed head stuffed into her where a child would have been. No one knew who the man was, another of the dead. So they had not, after all, killed a pregnant girl. This was a relief to them. That sound in the brush, a settling of wind in sorghum. If they capture you, talk. Live one world to another. Talk, please, yes. You heard me the first time. You will be asked who you are. Eventually, we are all asked who we are. All who come into the world, all who come into the world are sent. Open your curtain of spirit.